Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first live stream of this season. And yes, here we are. Hello, everybody. So nice to see you all. So, oh, oh, what am I doing? Yes. Hello, everybody. First of all, I want to wish everybody a happy new year with lots of Formula One fun and just great things overall. You know, love, peace, everything. Yeah, I set my desk in a different place because I bought a teleprompter and it's sitting on a tripod, so I needed more space in that corner. So whenever I need to read the chat, I'll do it like this. Maybe I'll find another solution at some point, but I won't be reading out the chat all the time anyway. So let me go to the chat. Seb Ricciardo is listening from the car. Yeah, keep your eyes on the road. Red Boy says, hello, mister. Hello, mister. Hank says, hi, guys and dolls. So, without further ado, I'm going to start the first video. This is a video I took from my live stream last year about the predictions. And now that the season is done, we can have a look on how I did. Yeah, I'm going to start with this one. Let me know if you can hear driver predictions for the 2024 season. I'm doing this all on vibes. No I don't hear anything. Testing has been done. In P20, I have Kevin Magnussen. He struggled last season. This year will be worse. Kevin Magnussen wasn't impressive last season, and I think with Haas having a worse car this season for Kevin Magnussen. P19, Sargent will improve by paying back the trust Fowles put in him. A wholesome story altogether. Can you guys hear this okay? I think it's quite wholesome how James Fowles is coaching Sargent, looking at how quickly he was thrown in, and he's guiding him. It will help. Logan Sargent will score 10 times as many points as he did last season. P18, Joe. Bad equipment is hard on the best of drivers, but even more so on drivers with less talent. Joe will feel this in 2024. So yeah, that's the thing. A team that's waiting out these set of regulations for the next one. Okay, so I know the headphones are working. To be taken over by... Yes. Okay. If you don't mind, I'm starting over again. I didn't have my headphones plugged in properly. We're doing driver predictions for the 2024 season. I'm doing this all on vibes. No official testing has been done. In P20, I have Kevin Magnussen. He struggled last season. This year will be worse. Kevin Magnussen wasn't impressive last season, and I think with Haas having a worse car this season, it's going to be even worse, and it's going to be the last season for Kevin Magnussen. P19. Well, I was right about Kevin Magnussen getting kicked out. but I wasn't right about putting him in P20. As it turns out, we had 24 drivers in 2024, but we'll get to that later. Sargent will improve by paying back the trust Fowles put in him. A wholesome story altogether. Yeah, I think it's quite wholesome. Yeah, it was very wholesome what happened to Logan Sargent. He got kicked out 8 races before the end, or 10. How James Fowles is coaching Sargent, looking at how quickly he was thrown in, and he's guiding him. It will help. Logan Sargent will score 10 times as many points as he did last season. P18. 10 times as many. Holy moly. Oh dear. Joe. Bad equipment is hard on the best of drivers, but even more so on drivers with less talent. Joe will feel this in 2024. So yeah, that's the thing. A team that's waiting out these set of regulations for the next one to be taken over by Audi in P17, we have Valtteri Bottas. Well, I was right about Stake being really bad. But yeah, Bottas finished P22, P23. And Joe, well, I might be correct about Joe. Hello, Mihai. Happy New Year. Okay, Bottas has the same bad steak car, and he'll be thinking about steaks on the barbecue in warm, sunny Australia. Bottas might not have improved as a racer since he left Mercedes, but he has improved as a person, because every picture I see of him on Instagram or his Twitter is something funny. 16. Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg is showing his class in that poor Haas package. He's very fortunate to score a bunch of points in a sprint race, so he gets P16. Yeah, I think Nico Hulkenberg, just like last season, will get into a sprint race and the tires will drop off, but in a sprint race that's not the worst thing, and gets pretty much enough points for the whole season. 15. Gasly. Yeah, I wasn't wrong about Hulkenberg, but he did quite a bit better than I expected, because he scored quite a few points in normal races as well. But like Henk said earlier, Haas had a great profit from the Ferrari suspension that worked really well on the Haas. And the Stake team was terrible, and the Red Bull sister team wasn't very good either. So yeah, there was plenty of points up for grabs. Then Kevin Magnussen sacrificed his race a couple of times to give Hulkenberg a point here and there. So, but yeah, not too bad. Hulkenberg P16. Alpine is crap. Gasly won't be able to do much. He will get beaten by Ocon this time, because Ocon won't DNF 8 times in 2024. Only 4 times. I think Gasly beat Ocon in the qualifying. 14. Ocon. P14. I just talked about Ocon, so it's clear why he's in P14. That's why I'm going straight ahead. 13. Alex Albon. So, as it turned out, I was pretty negative about Alpine. But they were worse than that. They were worse than I expected. If it wasn't for the amazing Brazil race for them, things would have looked much different for them. They would have finished P9 in the standings, but we'll get to that later. Hello, Robert. Happy New Year. So glad to see you. You're not going out with friends? No? Hank says, you weren't wrong about Hulkenberg. But only about Haas, as everyone was, says Hank. Yeah, that's true. Okay. Alex Albon will finish P13 again, but with double the points of the 2023 season. I think he scored 27 points in 2023, so he'll score 54 points in 2024. If you would like pets and you like Formula 1, follow Albon's Pets on Instagram. Lance Stroll in P12. Uninspired position for an uninspired driver. Yeah, I think every word that I spent on Mr. Window Licker is too many, you know. For his sake and for the sake of the sport, it's better if he leaves. P11. Yeah, Lance Stroll. I'm not even motivated to make a video about him because everybody has done it already and it's not changing anything. Albon in P13. Yeah, we need to look at the screenshot of the standings that I made, but I'll do that as soon as we get to P1. Or you know what? I'll do it now. Drivers. It's very small. Let me see. Oh, is it mirrored? We don't want that. See, I'm not very technical. Let me do this again. Why is it mirrored? That's so annoying. Remove. Yes. Add another one. Yes. Browse. Okay. Now it's really big. But it'll do. Oh no, I can't see myself. Yeah, I can put the top 10 in. Yes. Okay. So in 24, we have Jack Doohan. 23, Logan Sargent. Valtteri Bottas in 22. Liam Lawson in 21. Joe P20 instead of P18. Franco Colapinto in 19. He wasn't even on the grid when we started last season. Oliver Behrman, he was a substitute, so that doesn't count. Daniel Ricciardo in 17. Alex Albon in 16. I had him in 13. Kevin Magnussen finished P15. I had him in 20. Esteban Ocon in 14. Hey, I've got one correct. Oh, that's amazing. And then Lance Stroll finished 13. I had him in 12, so that's not too bad. Yuki Tsunoda, I had him P12. And Nico Hulkenberg finished P11. I had him in 16. Okay. Yep. I'm going to continue with the video now. Sorry for the delay, people, but that's always the way with my live streams. With 50 points more than Stroll is his teammate Alonso. Fernando will be unlucky with reliability at times and weird accidents. That's the only reason why I have Alonso in P11. He's going to be a lot more unfortunate for some reason. That's my guess. P10. Well, he got some major penalties that were absurd. And overall, the Aston Martin car just wasn't great. So, yeah. In P10, I have Ricciardo. Ricciardo will make it into the top 10. We will see some of his old magic again, but the car is in development, so it's not in every race. Racing Bulls are on a trajectory up with the stuff that, you know, Red Bull is going to screw on that thing as much as is allowed. P9, Tsunoda. Tsunoda will just beat Ricciardo by a few points. They are very level in performance. It could have been the other way around. I think Tsunoda will sort of luckily beat Ricciardo in the standings by just a couple of points. So Tsunoda, you know, the wildness is pretty much gone and the car will be a little bit better so he can shine a little bit more. So yeah, that's my prediction. But it could easily be the other way around, that Ricciardo beats Tsunoda by a few points. I can easily see that happen. In P... Yeah, so as you can see, I didn't think Ricciardo would be performing this poor. When he did the Red Bull test, Christian Horner said that he was almost as fast as Max Verstappen on the same track. But he probably said that to get Ricciardo into the sister team, which brought the Visa Cash App sponsoring in. So yeah, it was more business than common sense. Because, yeah, Ricciardo hasn't been great for the last, say, 4 years. So, 8, we find Russell, who will want it too badly and will cause some terror again. Later in the season, he'll be a lot calmer and he'll score a pole and maybe another win. Yeah, I think the first half of the season, Russell is going to be wild and uncontrolled. He needs to prove himself as the #1 driver now, because that's what he'll be next season. And we're going to see crashes and accidents, and obviously he'll apologize, but I hope he stays out of the way of Verstappen. No more big holes in the side pods of Verstappen thanks to Russell. 7, Piastri. Yeah, so I changed my mind a bit on Russell. He was way better than I predicted in this video. But it's probably because 2023 was a little bit messy for him. You know, crashing in Singapore the way he did. So yeah, my idea was based on what he did in 2023. I'll be a lot more positive about him in 2025. In my 2025 predictions that are coming out soon. Okay. Oscar Piastri will be a little bit better again, but the luck of the inexperienced will be gone, and he will notice he needs to dig deeper for his second season. Yeah, that's a phenomenon. You know, when a rookie arrives somewhere, you see it in football clubs as well, and these kids, they come in and they're not afraid of anything and they perform really well. And then the second season, they know more of the pitfalls and the dangers, and they're more prepared for it, but also it makes them more tight, and you'll see that not happening as easy for them anymore as it was in their rookie year. P6. Yeah, so that was an interesting point of view, where I thought that, you know, things would get harder on Piastri, but eventually he scored 2 wins and a lot of podiums, and I think it went better than I expected for Oscar. He was also helped by a great car for a lot of the season. So after his 2 wins, we thought that he would, you know, be this good consistently, and then towards the end of the season he kind of dropped off a little bit again. But, you know, things are looking good for him in 2025. Poor Carlos Sainz will be a little confused the first half of the season. Not having a seat won't help his confidence. He'll be okay in the end. Yeah, it's probably going to be hard for Sainz as well to stay motivated after the team just dumped him for that old expensive guy. Lewis Hamilton in P5, and he won't be too bothered about it. The 2024 season is a formality for him. P4. No. So this is interesting. I thought Sainz was going to be a little bit demotivated and he would struggle hard in Ferrari to keep up with Leclerc, but for some reason it sort of lit a fuse in him. You know, he had that spark to make the best out of that last season in Ferrari, to show them that they made a wrong decision. And I think Carlos Sainz had the best season he ever had, which I didn't predict before the season started. Now, I was right about Hamilton, that he wouldn't be too bothered with bad results. But he also managed to get 2 more wins, which I thought that would that would never happen again. So, yeah, I'll pull up the driver standings up again in a minute, so we can see where he actually finished. Because I don't know it without my notes. Norris. Lando Norris in P4 is somewhat disappointing for many, but he'll get his win in Singapore or something. Singapore being pretty much the worst race in the season for Max, has been for years. It's one of the tracks that he hasn't won yet, qualifying on pole and not giving that place away again. Everybody has him, fighting for the championship, but, as I explained, McLaren won't be good enough to do that, so yeah, he won't be fighting for the title. So this was interesting as well. I was right about Norris winning Singapore. I didn't expect him to win Miami and Zandvoort as well. And he was in the title for a little bit. The media made more out of it than it was, but at some point when Max's car in Monza was terrible, yeah, we all thought that Norris was gonna come back at Max and win it. Excuse me. P3 Charles Leclerc. Great season for him. Will set him up nicely for the inter-team battle of 2025. So yeah, Charles Leclerc, he's going to step it up if he wants to beat Lewis Hamilton next season. But he always seems motivated and he always seems ready to take the risks that you need to take as a driver. So I think he's going to have a great season. The fact that I have him in P3, I think you can guess who I have as P2 and P1 then. P2, Perez, and I'll just do the number 1 as well, Max Verstappen. In P2, we have, just like last season, Checo Perez. He'll improve and do just about enough to get a new deal. The gap to Verstappen is a lot smaller, only 200 points this time. Max Verstappen, you are a 4-time world champion. And then Max says, haha, nice, can I go now? I got a sim race later today. A special thanks to my channel members. Your help is much appreciated. If you want to support this channel too, click the link down below. Today we're... yeah. So I had Perez in P2. God, how wrong can you be? Holy moly. Oh, that's the wrong one. Yes. Okay, so now I need to get this one back up. Today we're doing driver predictions for the 2024 season. I'm doing this all on vibes, no official... Max Verstappen. Okay. Let me go to the chat first. Rode Jong, Robert, says, Stroll, don't get us started. Mihai says, lol, Stroll. Red Boy says, it's mirrored. Yes. Samantha says, I have no idea to fix it either. Fixed. Hank says, Tsunoda beat Ricciardo on merit. Daphne, hello Daphne. Happy New Year. I love Tsunoda, but he gets supported by Honda when Red Bull goes for port. Hank says, at the start of 2023, Russell got bad luck. The rest of the season, he overdrove the car. Hank says, Tsunoda took too long to calm down, but he was fast-tracked into F1 due to Honda leaving in 2022. Norris in Miami was a fluke, but he won officially. Robert says, don't you feel silly now, Wimbo? Yes, but I always feel silly, so it's nothing new. Yeah, predictions are hard, man. It's true, and I do this before testing started. So, if I do it after testing, then you would know that Stake would have been the worst team, that Alpine would have been really terrible, that McLaren was up there, and that would have changed my prediction somewhat. But I'm going to still do this before testing starts in February. where I make the 2025 predictions just on vibes and inter-team dynamics alone, because it's way more fun. You know, I don't want to be right every prediction. So I've got the number 1 right. Yes. Perez, I had almost right, but he was P8. Leclerc P3, correct. Norris was P2 instead of P4. And then I had Hamilton in P5, but he was P7. Carlos Sainz I had him in P6, but he was P5. Piastri I had P7, but he was P4. P8 I had Russell, but he was in P6. P9 I had Tsunoda, but that turned out to be Alonso. And 10 I had Ricciardo, and it was Pierre Gasly that finished in P10. Alrighty then. That one can go. And that one can go. Okay, so let's go to the next video. And that's this. Today we're doing team predictions for the 2024 season. I'm doing this all on vibes. No official testing has been done. Okay, so in 10th place we have Haas. The only interesting aspect of Haas was Günther, and he's gone. Gene Haas is finally doing something, and maybe he can use the money he's saving on Steiner's salary on a better upgrade or something. I'm expecting another year like 2023 for them, where they score no points or just a few. So yeah, Haas, what can I say about Haas? They've never been ambitious. Maybe in the first 2 seasons, you know, they finished, I think P5 or P6 in the standings one year. And after that, it was just drama. One thing that was entertaining was Kevin Magnussen and Romain Grosjean knocking each other out nearly every race. And Günther Steiner having a fit over it. In P9, Okay, yeah, it was interesting that I thought that Haas was going to be the worst team. And that I thought that they would miss Günther Steiner. But it turns out that Ayo Komatsu made a few correct decisions. Overall, he's been a good team principal. So I don't think I'll have him last in 2025. So in P9 I have Stake F1 team. They are just getting ready for the Audi takeover and will just do enough to break even. They'll score points occasionally. So yeah, Stake F1 team is one of those other teams that has no ambition at this time. You know, with the Audi coming in, taking over the lot, they're barely gonna, you know, spend up to the budget cap limit, bringing special people in to build cars, because Audi is doing all that for them for 26. I am curious about the livery they're gonna have. Poisonous green kind of color, fluorescent. In P8 we have. Yeah, I was correct about Stake, although I didn't expect them to be the worst team. But Stake isn't investing, or the Stake F1 team isn't investing much in making 2024 a great season, because they're all focused on 2026. And from what I'm hearing now is that the Audi engine program is behind, and they're not going to be as competitive as they hoped they would be. So we could see the Audi team in P11 or P10 in 2026. The first surprise. Alpine. Big drama at the top of the company has left the team without a captain or any structure. It will take time before that's sorted. A 5-year plan, I guess. Yeah, the 5-year plan. That's a joke, because 3 years ago Alpine started a 5-year plan to be competing for world titles, and the only thing they've done is sacked a load of people. A load of people walked away. They're stuck now with 2 very decent French drivers, a couple of American actor investors, but there's no decent team boss, there's no head of development, there's no structure whatsoever. In P7 we have Williams. Hank says you had the color right. Yeah, because I already saw tweets where they sort of teased that poisonous green color. So that's what I got right. And then talking about Alpine, I knew they were going to be terrible. And all the problems that I mentioned, I think they've sorted a few things now with Briatore overseeing everything, and that guy from High Tech being team principal. I forgot his name. Ollie. Somebody in the chat help me. Who's the team principal of Alpine? Yeah, I can't remember, but it's that skinny English guy. Yeah, I think I have that one correct, but we need to look at that later. Just like last year, but with a lot more points. Albon will do even better than last year, and Sargent will improve some, like 10 points or something. Yeah, Sargent, scoring 10 points instead of 1, and Albon scoring 54 points instead of 27. That would be a huge leap for Williams. However, it won't be enough to attack P6, because last season there was quite a, over 100 points between them, or maybe even 150. I think Fowles will do a good job with Williams, and scoring like 50 or 60 points more than the year before, and maybe in a lucky race Albon can get a podium, is quite a leap forward, and it's something that I really want to see. In P6, yeah, so Williams didn't perform as good as I hoped. I do have a lot of faith in James Vowles, but yeah, I didn't know the season started off with them having to convert all their spreadsheets with all the parts they have on the cars into a software program, which took ages, and they were almost too late going to testing. Yeah, that season was always going to be a very hard season, and then we had the problems of not having a spare chassis and all the damage that all the drivers have done, because they let Logan Sargent go because he crashed too often, and then they put Colapinto in, and he managed to crash twice in one weekend. And James Vowles has already said that 2025 is not going to be much better, so I'm keeping that in mind for my next predictions. We have Racing Bulls, 2 places higher than last season. The progress is visible, and the 2 drivers will get the most out of the growing package. Tsunoda and Ricciardo, and a car with more of the RB19 DNA in it, a new group of people at the head of the team, will see improvements. Again, with the field being so tight, it's going to be very hard to jump 2 places instead of 3 or 4. In P5 we have Aston Martin. Stroll will cost them a position in the standing. Yeah, I wasn't right about the RB sister team either. The Racing Bulls, as they call them now. Yeah, I expected more of them. That's all I can say. I heard that they were going to do more stuff. No, they're going to get more stuff from Red Bull, and they're going to work closer together. And I hoped that and Ricciardo driving there would give them more points, but they didn't. Alonso is doing the best he can, but he can't keep carrying the team. So if they had a driver a little bit lesser than Alonso, and a driver a lot better than Stroll, they would skip a position. They would get much better. In P4 we have Mercedes. Oh my lord. Hamilton will not be as motivated as he's leaving the team, and Russell is a little confused as to why he's driving around in a car that Hamilton wanted changed and then left. Wolff will be a little more quiet this season. Yes, Mercedes. Lewis Hamilton was in the car last week, seat fitting and on the sim. He wasn't happy. You could tell by the look in his face. Mercedes had posted a picture with everything scrambled around him, and his face was like... And then 3 days later, the news came out that he signed for Ferrari. But I think it's really unfair, because Hamilton has been pushing for changes. The seating position needed to go backwards, and George Russell couldn't drive it that properly with that car anymore. He's done all those changes. He leaves George Russell with a car that he can't work with. It's going to be exciting. Who? Yeah, I forgot about that, because Hamilton in 2023, he kept talking about how he was sitting down with the engineers and he was getting that car fixed and he was doing everything he could to help Mercedes on the way. And then, yeah, all those changes were done. And then he fucked off. Hank, what did I say about Wolf? I wasn't listening. Oh, I said that Wolf was going to be a little bit more quiet. Yeah. He doesn't bug me that much anymore. Probably because he's nice to Max. He's sucking up to Max. Okay. Have I got in P3? McLaren. I was on the hype train. However, McLaren hasn't had the big plateau yet. They'll start decent like the end of last year, but there will be dips in performance on certain tracks. With the competition being this close, it will cost a lot of points straight away. So this is something that I'm afraid of with McLaren. Red Bull in their first season, they had problems with the car being too heavy and they had issues in the slow corners. The TD fixed that, but also they fixed it themselves in the season after that. So that meant that basically on nearly every track they were good except Singapore. You know, as in development, I think Ferrari is ahead of McLaren, and that's why I have McLaren at P3. But I'm expecting good things for McLaren, you know, because there will be races where they'll be fighting Red Bull hard. In P2, I have Scuderia Ferrari. They will make it hard on the Red Bull boys, scoring a handful of wins between them. In the long run, they won't beat Red Bull. So yeah, that's short. So yeah, that thing where I'm expecting McLaren to hit a plateau, I was already expecting that for the past season for 2024, but it didn't happen. So I'm still expecting that for 2025. It was Ferrari that kept screwing on upgrades until there was an upgrade that totally didn't work for them, and that dropped them back. And that's why they didn't win the constructors. But yeah, like I had McLaren and Ferrari really close to each other, and yeah, I had Red Bull as the winner of the constructors, which was wrong as well because Perez dropped off massively. And simple, they've got a 95% new bits on their car. It will make them fast. It will make them fight Red Bull hard. If Red Bull has an off day here and there, then they'll get wins. Something must be going on with Max or with Red Bull before Leclerc or Sainz can win. But it will happen because I don't see Red Bull winning 23 races out of the 24. In P1, we have Red Bull. They stopped development so early in 2023. They have upgrades ready for the 2025 season. I think it was Jake Dennis that said, "Oh my God, Red Bull has developed so much ahead that they have stuff ready for the W21. No, not the W21, the RB21. So Red Bull is so far ahead that they can sandbag a little and then stay ahead." Yeah, they did develop at the end of 2023 for the 2024 season, but there was one upgrade in there that sent them in the wrong direction. I think that was the Spain upgrade of 2023 where the first problems started happening, and then Max won so many races after that that it went unnoticed, or Max was complaining about balance problems and Perez was definitely complaining about balance problems, but they didn't listen to them. So let me put up the teams pick. I can make that one bigger. Oh no, I'm not gonna make it. Wait. Yeah. No. Yes. Okay, so let me scroll back a little bit with the teams. Yeah. Okay. In 10. No, let me start with my own predictions first. Oh no, I'll go to the chat first because I see everybody talking. Yeah, those are all talking to each other. Mihai says, nice one though. Wolf isn't competition anymore. Max doesn't have off days except in Hungary. Yeah, that was definitely an off day. Perez had lots of off days. He almost had no on days. But they still need to do everything perfect as Verstappen will still be on his best. Yeah. Okay, so let's go to what I predicted. I had Haas in 10, but that was Sauber. I had Kick, Sauber, or Stake in P9, but that was P10. Then I had Alpine in P8, but that was RB. Then I had Williams in P6. Wait. There's 10, 9, 8, 7. Oh yeah, Williams in P7, but that was Haas. Then I had Racing Bulls in P6, but that was Alpine. And then I had Aston Martin in P5, and that's correct. And I had Mercedes in P4, and that's also correct. And then I had McLaren in P3, and they were number 1. And I had Ferrari in P2, and they were P2. And I had Red Bull in P1, and they were P3. So yeah. Oh, Lord. Still, it's fun to do, these predictions. It gives you something, to think about. And it makes the longing for the new season even better when you try to think of all the different developments that are going on that I'm thinking about. Hank says Alpine had right, but if it wasn't for the Interlagos Hall of Points. That's true. That put them in P6 instead of P8. And then if you have one wrong, you'll have the ones near them wrong as well, obviously. So everything's Alpine's fault. So guys, does anybody have any questions or, is there something you want to talk about? I've recorded a video with my new teleprompter. Well, I used my new teleprompter, which will make editing much easier because I'll have less B-roll to put in. So it'll be more talking head and less pictures and moving footage. And then see how everybody likes it. If everybody says, "Oh, we want more B-roll," then I'll do that. Hey, there's Slowpat. Hello, Slowpat. Better late than ever. And have a wonderful 2025. I'm always happy to see you in our chat, even though it's always half an hour to 45 minutes late. Yeah, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah. So I recorded a new video. It's about Christian Horner. Yeah, I don't want to spoil too much, but it's a bit of a, what do you call it in Latin? A mea culpa to Christian Horner about things I said last year. Yeah, I'd like to point out for the people in the chat or people watching this later that I still have my memberships open in case you want to support the channel. And I also got a gift from a member called what's he called again? Yeah, Outlaw. Outlaw gave us a nice little contribution. Rode Young is off, yes. Have a great evening as well, Robert, and I'll see you again on Twitter, probably in my private messages. Sorry I didn't react to everything, but you know, I didn't have a break for nothing. Yeah. Yeah, I think I discussed everything I wanted to discuss. And we'll be back next week for a nice little prediction video or whatever. And I'll be, as soon as this video is uploaded, then I'll start writing and make more videos. And, you can enjoy me every week again. I did enjoy that little break, but it's always hard to get the ball rolling again, So, everybody, thank you very much for this first live stream of the 2025 season. And let's do this 50 more times. All right? Take care now. Doei doei.